What is going on, you guys? I am bringing to you an Imperial list for Legion today. I had some people ask me for a competitive Imperial list, and I have done some before, and generally right now, one of the most competitive things to do is kind of max your core units, so lots of Stormtroopers, maybe a few Snowtroopers in there. But I wanted to take a different approach today because I'm really starting to appreciate the extra actions you get from 7-4Z speeder bikes. Because of their compulsory move, I really do like them. So, we're going to take a look at a way to try to max speeder bikes yet still stay competitive. So, one of the things we're going to do is I'm going to start off, I'm just going to say we're going to have 3 speeder bikes in this build. We can have max of 3 support and no problem. All right, I'm going to do that right there. I don't think they need any upgrades. I don't think they need a comms upgrade. We could put comms jammer or long range comm link in there, but I don't think we need either one of those. It's not really going to matter, especially since we have 3. We have a pretty good chance of actually pulling one from the pile, so I don't think we need to worry about being able to issue them orders. And comms jammer, while that is kind of useful, I don't necessarily want to get too close to enemy units, especially the way fleet troopers are available right now. If they go into standby, they're going to maybe shoot you after you do that move. I don't want to necessarily be that close to enemy units. So, that being said, nothing is going to go on these guys. So, what else are we going to do with this list? Well, I do want to point out that I am going to be using this list in an upcoming battle report. So, if you are a patron, you will see that first. And if not, then I'll eventually be putting it live after a day or two. So, you can get early access to battle reports and other great videos over on Patreon, as well as some, a recent homebrew expansion for Armada and a lot of other cool stuff that I'm putting out over there. Now that we're done with that, let's talk about our commanders. So I'm going to definitely put Vader in. I think the speeder bikes are good for the really quick stuff. If we need to get across the board, no problem. But now we need our slow and dangerous and tough guy, and that is going to be Darth Vader. So I am going to give Darth Vader, the first thing I'm going to give him is the thing he absolutely has to have, and that's Saber Throw. Saber Throw is so good on Darth Vader because of his relentless. He gets to move twice, even though he's only speed 1. He gets to move twice and then throw his saber. So and he can do it at range 2. So at range 2 he can roll 3 red dice. He's got impact 3 and pierce 3. So he is great at chopping down the legs of giant walking vehicles. No problem. It's just fantastic. And if he does manage to get close enough to you, he's going to cut you right in half. Now, Vader doesn't have the offensive surge, but it's okay because he's still got red attack dice. You still have a really good chance. You have a 6 out of 8 chance of doing damage. So, pretty good odds. So, all right, we've got Saber Throw on there. We want to add some more stuff. Also, one of the things that's almost crucial almost all the time with Vader is Force Reflexes, just so you can make sure that you get that dodge token so that you will get the defensive surge and you can deflect people, and that just really discourages other people from shooting at you. And my favorite upgrade that I've really had a lot of success with lately is Force Choke. It isn't going to work all of the time, but for certain objectives where you're having to be close to people and people are fighting over a certain control point, it's really, really good to be able to take out that big gunner, that DLT-19 or that Stormtrooper or that Rebel Trooper that's Z6, or maybe that unit leader that's holding an objective token or something like that. Just really good for that. So we're going to put Force Choke on there, or maybe that last trooper that just isn't able to do it. That's pretty good. So yes, Force Choke is just really, really nice. I love it. And granted, you'll only be able to replenish 1 of these per turn with Master of the Force, but I think that's fine because between this and Force Reflexes, they both work differently. If you're out in the open and you're far away, then you use Force Reflexes and get it back next turn. But if you're up close and personal, you probably don't need to use Force Reflexes that turn. You can probably get away with just using Force Choke because you probably kill everybody that you're close to. And if you have to use them both, then you use them both. but because one is best at close range and one is, good at long range, I think there you can afford to take both of those and be okay. Now that we've got Vader on there, and we have vehicles, I am going to put Veers on as well. And Veers is optional for this build. If you don't want to use Veers, you don't have to. But I like having the different command cards. I like having Veers being able to support vehicles with some of his command cards as well. And so, and he's not that expensive, and he's actually pretty good. And the reason I say that, he's got the offensive surge to crit, and he's range 1 to 3. So Veers is actually pretty good at actually getting damage through to vehicles, because he's got a 2 out of 8 chance of rolling that crit, whether he rolls the crit or the surge. And then Pierce 1, a lot of vehicles are only rolling those white defense dice. So, if you roll 2 crits, or more, they may roll only 1 defense, and you get to cancel that one. So you're really likely to get damage through on, especially if you do spotter and you give an aim token to somebody else and yourself, and then you shoot. You can re-roll everything. You can really fish for those crits. So I've had a lot of success with Veers and shooting because of that offensive crit and Pierce 1. It's just very, very nice. And if he has to shoot at other people as well, he's got Sharpshooter to make it easier to shoot at somebody else, especially somebody who's already suppressed as a result of a Stormtrooper shoot. So Veers is nice, and Inspire is always good too. So just everything about Veers I kind of really, really like. So let's talk about our troopers. Now for this build, I'm going to break from the recent stuff of like snowtroopers have been all the rage. I'm not going to use snowtroopers in this build, mostly because I'm getting pretty up there in points. So I'm going to use stormtroopers. I do have to have 3 core, and I'm going to just use 3 stormtroopers. And now this is risky because having a limited amount of actual trooper unit leaders for certain objectives, that can hurt you. But I still have a lot of actual units. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is still not bad. So I'm going to give each of these guys a DLT 19. Since I don't have that many, I want them to be able to start weakening the enemy forces as they get close. And so having these guys all shoot at range 4 is excellent. Now, we are already at 784 at this point, so we're getting very, very close to it. We don't have enough to add somebody else. If you wanted that 4th Stormtrooper unit, you could drop Veers, and you could fit it in that way. If you didn't want, like, you could even fit more Stormtroopers if you wanted to take away the DLT 19s as well. But this is what I'm going with. I think the DLT 19s are important, and I think Veers is good enough that he's worthy of being in this list. But I'll make one of my Stormtrooper units like a fully loaded Stormtrooper unit. So I'll put this extra Stormtrooper in there. Brings me to 795. I've got 5 points left. I'll take my fully loaded Stormtrooper unit, and I'm going to add impact grenades for that extra vehicle stopping power, just in case. Now, there's a lot of anti-armor in this build. I mean, Vader on his own is very good for anti-armor. Veers, like I was talked about at length, Veers can potentially stop armor, but he's got that command card that works against armor as well. This Stormtrooper unit is very good against armor with the impact grenades and the DLT 19 having impact 1. All of the Stormtroopers have that, so I have a lot of impact 1s floating around in this list. Plus, the 74Z speeder bikes have impact 1 per mini, and there's 2 minis in there, so they kind of impact 2 when they're at full strength. So everybody is good against vehicles, which is funny because I've seen so many ATSTs lately, and ATRTs are cheap for the Rebels, so people are using lots of them. So there's nothing wrong with being good against vehicles, because while everything here is good against vehicles, there's nothing that's only good against vehicles. So if I go up against a list that doesn't have any vehicles, I still have really good stuff. Like these speeder bikes are just really good at getting across the map really quick and taking those shots at troopers. So you roll in 6 dice, you're still going to do really well. And they have the offensive surge as well. So we don't need the crit on the 74Z speeder bikes if we're going against troopers. Let's look at command cards, because now we have some choices to make with command cards since we have both commanders. Obviously, we're going to have standing orders in there. Now, for this build, whenever I'm running 2 commanders, I like to think about, do I really need all 6 of the 2 commanders cards. And in this case, I don't think I do. So I'm going to start with Veers first. Definitely want maximum firepower. It's just a really great card. It's a really fun card to use. It goes into a lot of lists. It's very easy for me to take that. Let's do Veers' 2. It's going to be evasive maneuvers. Since I do have 3 vehicles, I think this is a good option to go with, but it's one of those that isn't always going to be necessary, but it is nice to have. And I like the fact that, that because these guys could definitely stand to cancel crit results. Absolutely. And then our 3 pip is going to be Imperial Discipline. And then, again, I like this one as well. This one actually can be used with Vader in case you have to end up using both of his force abilities and don't get to reset them both. But it's not like super crucial. So this one could potentially go, but since it does have a use in here, I'm fine with it. I like the plus. There's plenty of uses for this because it also gets rid of suppression. If you get a unit that gets really heavily suppressed, you can make sure that they get rid of that at the very beginning, which is always nice. Now we're looking at Vader's cards. I'll start at 3 pip and we'll work our way up. So Master of Evil, I'm definitely going to go with. I like this card a lot. It's Vader in 2 units, so it's very flexible. And also this is the one that gives Vader a dodge token during the activation phase. So if he ends up being out in the open and you're afraid that somebody's going to open fire on him right away, this one I think is an auto-include in just about every Vader list. Especially also because he works against enemy troopers, and there's always going to be enemy troopers. There has to be enemy troopers, unless they come up with some kind of robotic core that doesn't count as a trooper. New ways to motivate them. I think I can pass on this card. When a friendly non-Darth Vader trooper unit with a face-up order token activates, it may suffer a wound to perform a free action. This one absolutely has its uses. I just have found that in my games with Vader, every time I think about using this, I end up not doing it, because by the time I'm ready to do this, a lot of my Stormtrooper units have already suffered wounds, and I'm thinking, well, I'd have to kill my DLT-19 to Trooper to be able to, do one more thing, and then it's not worth it. So I don't usually like this one, but it does have uses. I think this one might be more useful with Snowtrooper Flame Troopers. To help them make sure that they can aim and take 2 moves and then shoot or something like that. I could see that since in a case like that, it's really not crucial that you don't lose anybody. So, but instead of this one, since I'm not using those, I'm going to go with push. And push is going to be useful in case I have, in case I have my a commander die or something like that. Push is just always hell. Or in some cases, I've had both commanders die, and having those generic cards really, like if you have to nominate a stormtrooper as a commander, you can still attempt to go first later in the game. And then our number 1 pip is going to be Implacable. Again, I think this is an auto-include into every Vader list just because it lets Vader go 2 times. And granted, on his second activation, he does 1 fewer action. I mean, he has to take 1 damage to do it. It's not a big deal. But 1 fewer action is fine for a guy that can get tons of free actions. Right? He might move again, and now he's in range to go ahead and force choke that person that he was just out of range for. Plus, after he does his first move, he gets that free attack action. So, Vader can, totally make up for his 1 speed and do like move, saber throw, and then later on move, saber throw, force choke, all at the same time. It's just amazing the havoc that Vader is capable of wreaking with this card. So again, I think it's an auto include. So we're going to put that one in there. And that is the list. Let's go ahead and let's do a print view. There we go. There is the whole list. And again, this will be coming up in a battle report. So if you are a patron, I want to give you a big thanks to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. You get first crack at this battle when it goes live. And I'm going to try and do that full. It'll be a full battle report. And if you are not a patron, then you'll still be able to see it because it's only early access over there. It's still coming. But you'd be a lot cooler if you were a Patreon, right? All right, thank you. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. There's still a big giveaway going on right now for X-Wing 2nd edition conversion kits, so make sure you are entered to win one of those by becoming a subscriber and leaving a comment on this or one of my videos. I will be announcing those winners before Gen Con, probably the end of July, so stay tuned for that. Big deal. I'm very excited about that, and you guys should be too. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Crabbok.com and click that little bell for alerts next to the subscribe button so you don't miss out on new stuff. I want to thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.